around the 18th century, eggs were eaten widely in Japan. These cookbooks, published in 1785, have all sorts of recipes, including 100 that use eggs in some way. Some of the recipes are quite unusual. One example would be reverse yolk eggs. The positions of the yolk and the white of the egg are reversed. The recipe says, using a pin, make a hole in the shell of a freshly laid egg, then pickle the egg in salted rice bran paste. After a few days, rinse and boil the egg, and you'll have your reverse yolk egg. Professor Hajime Hatta of Kyoto Women's University tried to reproduce these reverse yolk eggs. At first, he followed the recipe in the book. But every attempt failed. So he came up with a different method, one that uses a stocking. A fertilized egg that has been kept warm for 3 days is placed in a stocking and he twirls it rapidly. The stocking acts as a centrifuge. Because yolk is heavier than white, the yolk is pulled to the outside of the egg. You also twirl the egg while boiling it. When Hatta did all this, he produced an egg with the yolk and the white switched. A reverse yolk egg. But how were these eggs made in the 18th century? That remains a mystery. Raising poultry used to be more of a sideline for farmers, but that all changed after the Second World War. Larger breeds of chicken, ones that could produce more eggs, were introduced. Poultry farms became much bigger. Let's look at the wholesale price of eggs in Japan over the past 60 years. In the mid-1970s, a spike in feed costs pushed egg prices up. But overproduction eventually pushed costs down again. Today, eggs are about the same price as they were in the 1950s. While many other commodities have soared in price, the cost of eggs hasn't changed. They're popular as a cheap and nutritious food. Japan is a world-leading consumer of eggs. The average person eats more than 300 of them a year. Because of Japan's strict hygiene management, there's no need to worry about salmonella. Japanese eggs can be eaten raw. And the Japanese do love raw eggs. The ultimate example is a dish enjoyed by Japanese of all ages. This is the town of Misaki in Okayama Prefecture. The restaurant's signature dish is raw egg over rice. A raw egg over hot rice seasoned only with soy sauce. This dish is as simple as it gets. The egg and rice with side dishes of miso soup and pickles is 300 yen. And there are free extra servings of egg and rice, a popular offer. Delicious! Misaki has a large poultry industry, and this restaurant was set up to promote the town using its fresh, tasty eggs. The restaurant opened in 2008. On holidays, people may wait up to 4 hours to get a meal. For Japanese diners, raw egg over rice is a wonderful way to appreciate egg's basic flavor. It's a dish they never get tired of.
Here in the outer market, they have several shops that specialize in omelettes. Now, an omelette is something that most people make at home, but these ones are special. They're made as toppings for sushi, so when the sushi chefs come to the market to buy their fish, they can also pick up their omelettes. Now, this shop here has quite an array of different types. The ones that are used in sushi are plain, but they have, let's see, got crab, chicken, prawn, and a number of different other ones as well. And as you'll see, they're all in rectangular blocks, which is a little unusual for omelettes, perhaps. Hello. I see you've got quite a few chefs working in the back there, cooks cooking the omelettes. Wow, and you got a whole batch of these things. It's amazing, it's almost like a car assembly line.
This is the most efficient way to cook omelettes, mixing manual and automated operations. Each of these omelettes uses about 10 eggs.
In a whole day, how many eggs do you get through?
Approximately 12,000 to 13,000 eggs a day.
Here you can get things that have just been, well, just come straight out of the frying pan and eat them hot. And I'm going to have a little taste now.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Oh, that looks so good. It's very slightly sweet, and it's flavoured with dashi, the soup stock as well. So you've got the taste of the egg plus all of that. It's really great. These days, eggs can be bought everywhere and very cheaply too, and one of the main reasons for that is an amazing technique that was developed here in Japan.
These chicks have just hatched from an incubator. On the day they are born, the chicks are separated by sex. A chicken sexer can sort male from female incredibly quickly. These specialists use a method that was developed in Japan. Some breeds of chicken have newborn chicks whose sex is impossible to identify just by looking at them. However, if you want chickens that lay eggs, you want only females. In the past, it took a month before poultry raisers could tell which sex a chick was. Being able to pick out the female chicks at birth saves money. This is Shigeru Kusano, a veteran chicken sexer who's been on the job for 50 years. Today, he's sexing a breed called the Ukokke. Ukokke chicks are very small, so sexing is especially difficult. He uses a method called vent sexing. After causing the chick to release feces, the anal vent is pushed open. The chick's sex can be determined by the shape of the vent. However, it is small and almost identical in males and females. In males, there is a slight trace of retracted sex organs. It takes a trained eye to make the distinction. These traces come in 1,000 different variations. Sexing chickens demands extreme accuracy. It's a huge mistake to have a male amongst the females. For every 1,000 chicks, a sexer must make no more than 3 errors or the client will complain. Speed is also essential to minimize stress to a chick's body. While inspecting a chick with the left hand, the right hand is already grabbing the next chick. Each inspection should take 1 or 2 seconds, which adds up to 15,000 chicks sexed per day. What does it take to be a chicken sexer? The most important traits are patience and perseverance. Also, it takes a person with an inquisitive mind, and you need nimble fingers. Japanese people tend to have these traits, so they are ideal for this work. Japanese researchers developed this method of distinguishing male and female chicks in the 1920s. The difference between the sexes is very subtle, though. And researchers in other countries said that the method could never be implemented in the poultry industry. But in Japan, researchers worked together with managers of poultry farms, and before long the method had been introduced throughout the country. Japanese chicken sexers back then were the only people who had this technique. They were invited around the world to show off their remarkable skills. Their work brought foreign money into Japan, which was poor at the time. Kusano too worked as a chicken sexer in France and other European countries when he was young. There is only one institution in the country that trains chicken sexers. Students here spend 5 months studying the subject. Then they spend 1 to 2 years apprenticing at a poultry farm. After that, if they pass an exam, they can become licensed chicken sexers. Recently, fewer people are applying to become chicken sexers. The work is seen as hard and monotonous. Finding the next generation of chicken sexers is a problem. Moreover, selective breeding programs have produced male and female chicks with different feathers, making them easy to sex. This has reduced demand for chicken sexers. However, for most of the chicken breeds used to lay eggs, vent sexing remains a necessary skill. And that means chicken sexers will still be in demand for a long time to come. It's interesting precisely because it's difficult. It spurs your curiosity. You use your experience to keep improving your technique all through your career. If you don't have that drive, you'll quickly lose your touch. That's what makes it fun.
And chirp, 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 we leave you with this little guy who I'm not going to turn upside down, by the way. Of course, you'll find chickens and eggs all over the world, but as I was slightly surprised to find, Japan does have its own unique culture involved with them. You have unique breeds, unique cuisine, and even unique poultry raising methods. I think he's in a hurry to get away from me, actually, so let's say goodbye. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Next time, rain. Japan